Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will take my old In-Ai-s Nikkor 55mm 1.2 and actually show how you can adjusting this lens to infinity or over. Let's say this lens, well, it's fine, but when it comes to infinity, it's not sharp. I mean, if it could come a little far out, I mean, real infinity. It's not the case with this lens. It works pretty good. But if your lens does not do this, it's a problem. Because the lens group cannot come close enough to the sensor. So what can we do about it? Well, let's see. But we need some tools. We need at least a pointy tweezer, some dentist tool, especially the pointy end here, which is good to make scratch, and a flat spade kind of. And we need a JIS screwdriver because this is a Japanese lens, as you can see. Now, it does not work with the Phillips screwdrivers because it's not the same tip. So be careful of that. We also need another one, 1.2mm flathead screwdriver, and we need some tools to actually unscrew the name ring in this case. And of course you can buy some of those different rubber tools on Amazon, eBay, or whatever, or you could try use the rubber cone, which it can sit over here and you can unscrew it. It's more sticky than the gray one. But you could also do another thing. You go to the hardware store and buying some gaskets or whatever name they have. You can get them in many different shapes and colors and diameters, and that's what I did. I've done it many times. So I a long time ago made me a tool which is really good to unscrew 55mm front rings or something like that, because I can just put it on and then turn it. Now I'll not do that yet. I will begin with taking off the focusing ring itself, because this is where we start. Because I mean, I need to take out the whole lens assembly to make the kind of adjustment. Now, so take off the rubber grip. We need a flat tool, just like this dentist tool, to dig under the rubber thingy, and in that way dig under it, and then at the same time push it forward or backward if you prefer that, and then it's off without damage it. Now under this here, in the beginning I thought this ring, the outer ring here, could be unscrewed, but no. The focusing ring sits with 3 screws around here. One there, there, and there. So with a JIS screwdriver, we just unscrew them. They are magnetized, so that's good. I mean, it's steel, and the screwdriver is also magnetized, so it's quite easy in a way. Oh gosh. And the last one. Don't move the focusing ring itself, just pull it out and we will see together what's underneath. So it's not really anything special in here. There isn't any knots or pin, it's just a ring. And now we look into what's actually the focusing helicoid in here. And before we do anything, I mean, it's just my reference to actually, with a very pointy dentist tool or whatever you have, make a scratch here where infinity is. It will say the index mark here, the white one. Make a scratch in line with this, both on the this ring here and on the side of the helicoid ring, so you have a kind of a reference if you want to measure anything, just for your own reference. It's good to have. Now to actually get adjusting the lens here to correct focus, over infinity or something, you cannot use the focusing helicoid to do that, because it is not really possible. But so how can we just in adjusting the focusing so it's correct? Well, you see that small screw here? There's only one. We need to unscrew this name ring to get the whole lens assembly out. And if you look closer, there is another one here. It's not a screw. No. Well, let's show you. We'll just unscrew the maybe not. Maybe it's better to actually take off the mount first, because if I unscrew this, the name ring, the lens assembly will just fall out. So I will just always have a good starting point. It's the infinity, or at least infinity or near it. Now on the back, because we also need to take that out to go into the lens assembly, they're sitting with 5 screws, and they should be quite easy to unscrew. If not, if the screws here around is not, if they're too tight, you could use some isopropyl alcohol, in this case 99%, or you could use some nail polish remover. Sometimes it works, sometimes not, and also with this one. But if you want to use one of those, you just add a little, a few drops here on each screw, and let it suck in to the so it comes into the thread. It's just a tiny drop that need, and let it stay there just some seconds, and then you should be able, with a JIS screwdriver, and actually we take those, to unscrew it. It can sit tight even if you have been into the lens before and tighten the screws, but we will just do it. And then the rest of the screws, they are non-magnetic in this case, so it could be different. So now the lens mount is free, and then you can lift it off, something like that. It's not really anything special, just a mount with no mechanical thing in. But put it aside. I always add the screw inside here so I know where they are. It's just my my way of doing it. Well, set the lens to 16. I mean the aperture to 16. And pull off the aperture ring. Not really anything special. And it's actually connected by, if we look here, there is a pin, I mean a notch down here. If we look on the back, I mean it's actually on the front of the, if we look through it here. So if we turn it over, you will see it's something like that. And I mean you can only set it in one position. Now you see the back lens here, it's exposed, so take really good care of this. Have a good grip here on the lens. And now we need to actually take out the lens assembly, and it's done by, there is a lock screw here, 1.2mm flathead screwdriver I use for that. And you need to loosen it only. There's no need for unscrew it fully. So just one or two turns clockwise, I mean counterclockwise. Okay, we do it again. So just around 1.5 turn, and that's it. Now unscrew it with either a rubber tool, those here, or you could use other tools, but I prefer this one because I just have a better grip on it, over it, and then you see the screw, the set screw needs to be unscrewed just a little bit more. So, and then unscrew it, because if you do not unscrew it enough, I mean loosen it, if you don't loosen the screw enough, it could damage the the thread. I mean not the thread, but the side of here, where you can see where it sits. It has sit. And that's actually that. Take care of the screw. It's tiny, and I don't know where you can go get spare parts. Now, what we see here is actually the focusing helicoid system, and the whole lens assembly sits inside here. What you will also see, there is a brass ring here. This one here is the brass ring around, and it's actually the one that I mean, you can get them in different size, I guess, but if it's too thick, it cannot come close enough into the sensor. And on the other hand, if it's too thin, well, it cannot be any thinner than, and I took some measure, it cannot be any thinner than 1.10 millimeter. I thought it was 1.06, but it was 1.10 millimeter. That's the thinnest thing the ring can be. And I actually try to just let it out, but there has to be something space between here. What you will also see, there is a kind of a, it looks like it's a screw or something, but it's not a screw. So do not touch it. It's not a screw. is actually, as I see it, it's the way you adjust the aperture, I guess. I mean, the lens assembly sits in a way like this. And I think, I do not have a repair manual for this lens, but I think it's to fine-tune the aperture when the whole lens assembly sit into the focusing system. So now, which is also a good thing here, it will make it better to assemble. See the aperture connection pin, it works, it's the one that connected to the aperture mechanism in the camera. And when you put the lens assembly in, it will have to sit, the pin inside will have to catch a fork like thingy. And by holding this pin here, it's a little easier when you set a mark here. So if you make a kind of a scratch here in line with this pin, it should be much more easy. On the other hand, this pin here is the connection with the aperture ring, and it should stay all the way over here at aperture 16. And I also set a small mark here. If you set it to full open at 1.2, it will just make it more difficult to put the lens assembly in, just so we have that in place. Now, right now I can take out the lens assembly, just let it fall out in my hand. See what's happened with this pin. It says it moves a little because there is a little tension on this pin, and here we have this fork like thingy, which actually the way the aperture is moving, I mean controlled by the aperture ring. So there's not really anything in here. You cannot adjust the focusing helicoid to get the lens assembly closer. So what's next? Well, I tried to figure it out, and well, this brass ring, you can actually take it out, and you can see how it will. It's a little bigger than the see the gap. I mean the ring here is bigger than the actual size between those. This the front here, and yeah. So this one is at the moment 1.36 millimeter thick, and it needs to be thinner, as we say. So what to actually do about it? Well, I was thinking about taking some piano wire, which is actually 1 millimeter, but it's not enough. So I think, okay, and bend it around. If I do this here, put it over and let it sit something like that over the adjustment thingy, so it could sit like this. But the piano wire is a little too it's not, I mean, it's not the correct size. So I figured out, okay, it has to be 1.10 millimeter thick. So I found some plastic nylon thingy from a box, plastic box, and cut it out to a thin piece of plastic ringing, so I can actually put it on here. And when I do this, it can sit fine there, and then I can put the whole lens assembly into the focusing body, and it's actually good. But if we can just try it to put in without anything. So you have the aperture moving from the aperture ring. It's open and close. See, it's open, and if there is tension here, it will close the aperture again. Now, I set a small mark here because this is where the aperture 16 is, and it's also here. Now, so let's put it in again and see what's happened. Where's the fork here? So let it come in. Hopefully you can see what's going on. I know it's difficult, but you see this fork has to catch the pin in here. So we try to do that. It's not that. And I think we are here. Yeah, I think it will work. So if we push it all the way in, like you see here, aperture is working, that's fine. So the and then I try to put the mount on. If I do so, let's say it's just fine. I will just put it on, and look what's happened up here. I will simply push the lens assembly a little out. That's actually the minimum distance that could be at infinity here. So I think okay, it's fine with the plastic strip, so it works pretty good. So I can just do that and say okay, I put this strip on here all the way around, and simply put on the front name ring. And it will in that way get closer to the mount, and I can actually, because it's plastic, and it's not hard plastic, it will in that way, because I tried, it will in that way fit really good, and you will come a little closer, which might be the distance you need here on the back. So if you tighten the ring here a little bit more, it begins with here when I unscrew it, but now it's all the way over here. So the lens assembly is actually closer to the center at the moment, and so it's really good. So that's a way you can adjust it if you want, but and it will come over infinity, I would think. So but let's get back to the actual I mean, put the lens back to its normal order, which it was before. Also, so you can see how to assemble it again. So at the ring here, 16 all the way over here, this one also all the way over here this way, and then you can just put the whole thing in again. So I haven't actually damaged anything. I just make some kind of adjustment to a lens which probably needed or not. Yeah, it's quite difficult to get in here, but so it's there. Can be a little tricky. So there, and hopefully if it's not the correct setting, it will not, you can see it will not move. Well, kind of. If we have it here, yeah, it works. And if it is not working correct, you'll just need to take out the we can just do it. And let's see where it is here. So I just forgot this pin here for the aperture connection to the aperture ring. This fork here is actually connected to here. So I need to be sure it's it hits the fork in here, which is the, when I move the aperture ring, it will also move the, oh, hold on. If I move the aperture ring, I will also move the fork. So be sure it's put in correct when you assemble it. Up to here, and this one up to here. Sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes it's fine. I need to catch it. So that's fine, and the aperture is moving if I can. Yeah, that's all fine. So I actually can put on the name ring again, turn it counterclockwise until it says click, then screw it in again. And you need to tighten it as it was. So it's something like over here in this case. It could be different in your case. Remember that. So, and just tighten it. And it has to sit flush with the surface here. If not, it's not really possible to get the focusing ring on again. So now I can put the mount on and the aperture ring on. Where is my index mark is here. Set it to something like 16 or so, and test it. It works. Then I can put the mount on, something like that, and put on the 5 screws. You could add, if you want, you could add some thread lock, which would be fine. So now you see I tightened the screws in a kind of a triangle or a star or so, and it's because it makes it more, you have a better control. It's connected correct, so it's not, the alignment is, it's fine. I guess it's called that way. So there, and here we are. Can also just check this. Now we are back again, and it can actually work. So, and on with the back cap, lens cap, and then on with the focusing ring. And since I have my mark here at infinity, I know exactly where it should sit. So there, infinity mark, put it on, and then here we are. Then put in the 3 screws that hold it. Tighten it gently, not too hard. It's aluminium you are screwing into it. So there, and we are almost there, and have a lens that is fully working again. Not at all destroyed, if you think so. Then the rubber grip. Put it gently on. And here we are again. It's I hope you can use this info in the video, or you maybe found another solution. You could also, if you can get some copper wire, maybe something, but it should be 1.10 millimeter or so. The outer diameter is, in this case, 58.0, I mean 35, and the inner diameter here is 57.80 millimeter. So that's it, and hope you can use the info in this video. So that's all for me. Bye bye.